and welcome to another episode of Sum of Our Parts, the podcast where two friends talk about the movies that add up to make us who we are. I'm Lindsay,
And I'm Jim.
and this week we are continuing in the holiday season, but now we are amidst the 8 nights of Hanukkah.
Yeah, you got the last pick of the holiday season. So, what did you pick for us to listen to or watch, rather?
I picked the movie Eight Crazy Nights from 2002, which is an animated film done by Adam Sandler. The title comes from a line from his Hanukkah song. He says, instead of one day of presents, we have 8 crazy nights. So that is where the title came from. Watching it again for the first time in a while, I realized that there's actually not that much about Hanukkah in this movie. It just happens to take place during Hanukkah. So I guess it's a Hanukkah movie in the same way that like Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Good point. Didn't think of it that way. So, and I had actually never seen the movie, so I was kind of expecting more of a Hanukkah content.
Hmm.
Well, for one, Adam is Jewish, and
Yes.
because of the title. But you're right; it didn't give me any more insight into Hanukkah than what I already knew.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
other other than the fact that evidently in this community it's held in the same esteem as Christmas because it seems to be on equal footing as far as the population celebrates it and acknowledges it.
Yeah. Yeah. Even
So
though it doesn't seem like that, well, I guess they have a pretty active Jewish community center, but
yeah.
at their banquet, not that many people were celebrating Hanukkah.
So did you see this at the movie theater? I'm assuming it had to be a theatrical release, right?
Yes, I'm fairly certain that I did. I saw it with my friends.
Okay.
It came out when I was 12, so prime time to watch a movie like this.
Were you were you drawn to it, you think, because of Adam being in
Hmm.
it, or because it was a animated cartoon? Because I am a sucker for animated movies.
I would say the Adam Sandler thing primarily,
Okay,
because I grew up watching Adam Sandler movies like Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, The Waterboy, Little Nicky. I think
Nikki.
there was one Christmas. I have like all those movies on DVD because one Christmas I wanted like the full like Adam Sandler collection. The Wedding Singer. That's a favorite of mine. But yeah, like so all these movies, I always loved Adam Sandler and the Hanukkah song. Like I know the
Oh,
Hanukkah song like basically by heart.
oh, good for you. So
Yeah.
yeah, well, it's
Which
very clever.
right. And also, people, if you don't know the Hanukkah song, it also doesn't teach you anything about Hanukkah. It's just a list of Jewish celebrities.
Which, by the way, is quite extensive.
It is very extensive.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So yeah, yeah. Some of the people you may not have thought of as being Jewish. So
Yeah. Some people converted. Hall of Famer Rod Carew, for example.
Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah.
So some, however, didn't, like the Marx Brothers. So do you watch this? So you don't watch this on a regular basis each year then for Hanukkah?
No, this watching it this time was the first time I'd watched it in some years. And I was like,
Okay.
wow, this is a mess. Oh my God. It was definitely made in 2002, not now.
Uh, I but I have to admit I did enjoy it. So I like I said, I had heard of the movie and but I'd never seen the movie. So but I thought it was well and I thought like you I like Adam Sandler. So I think he's very funny and very creative. So
Yeah, I think that it is funny. I think the songs are catchy. Like Adam Sandler writes catchy songs and a
and
really
sings them.
and sings them. Yeah. In different voices also, which we'll get into. But yeah, I think and something else I always appreciate about Adam Sandler is that he's like got his group of people and they are with him
Yep.
always.
He's got
Uh,
his solid his regulars that he evidently all have a steady paycheck coming in because of Adam.
Yeah, one of them like wrote the movie with him and is a voice in it. Several of them are voices in it. But yeah, it's like people that he would have worked with at Saturday Night Live or in other movies.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that's always cool. Like when you watch an Adam Sandler movie, you know you're gonna see a few of these people, and it's nice that that continued even in the animated movie. Like Alan Covert is one of the writers with Adam Sandler, and he's in like all these other movies. He was sort of the sidekick in The Wedding Singer, and he is in yeah, he's in like all of them. He's gosh, I'm trying to like remember who he is in all of the
And all
movies.
the movies.
But yeah, that's what I think of him most as the sidekick in The Wedding Singer. The guy who like drives the limo and wears the like Michael Jackson jacket.
Okay, okay, all right. So
That's the
it's been
one.
a minute since I've seen that too.
Yes.
So
Well, it's on the list because it's one of my favorites. So
okay,
we'll get
gotcha.
there. But
Uh,
he co-wrote it and he's a voice. And we get like Rob Schneider. We get Peter Dante, who is also he's the quarterback in The Waterboy, and they're both in like Big Daddy, and Rob Schneider is in all these movies. So you get Kevin Nealon, John Lovitz. They're in other Adam Sandler movies too. We get a little voice cameo of Carl Weathers. We get the old lady from The Wedding Singer. Adam Sandler's wife and parents are voices in this movie. So
spread the wealth.
exactly, exactly. He's got his people and they are with him.
And yeah, so and Adam does, which I didn't realize until looking at the credits. Adam does a few of the voices as well, which I'm surprised at the diversity of his voice
Hmm.
talent.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Some of them I was like, oh wow. But yeah, the movie is directed by Seth Kersley. This was his directorial debut. It looks like he's directed some other animated things, and he's also been a storyboard artist for some other animated things like the movie Sing and The Secret Life of Pets. So
Oh, okay,
he's pretty in the animated universe,
cool.
I guess. And it was written by Alan Covert, like I mentioned, Adam Sandler, Brooks Arthur, and Brad Isaacs. So, but yeah.
And
So
I'm sure it came out of Adam's head, right? This wasn't it was just
I have to imagine, yeah. And he produced it, like the his Happy Madison.
oh
Um,
production company.
yeah. Yeah, this was the only animated film Adam Sandler had ever done until Hotel Transylvania when he
Oh,
plays Dracula in
yeah,
those
okay.
movies. This was the first and only film produced. So Happy Madison is his overall production company, but the
Hmm.
animation division is called Meatball Productions, which I think was his dog. Um, so this was the first and only film produced by like the animation division of
Oh,
Happy Madison
Happy Man.
Productions.
What kind of reception did it get? Do you have anything on how well it was received when it came out?
It was a box office bomb, um,
Oh, ooh,
and it looks like not a great critical success either. Roger Ebert gave the film 2 out of 4 possible stars and criticized the film's dour tone, saying that the holidays aren't very cheerful in Sandlerville.
well,
Matthew Rocha of Salon called it the best known Hanukkah film despite its poor quality. William Thomas of Empire gave the film 1 out of 5 stars, saying, "File under what the hell were they thinking? With this and Mr. Deeds, Sandler's pulled off quite the combo. Avoid like the plague." He won a
ooh,
Kids' Choice Award for favorite voice from an animated movie. And he was also nominated twice in the Razzies for Worst Actor for this movie and Mr. Deeds.
ooh, ooh, ooh. That's tough.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
that's pretty
uh,
hardcore.
not great, but I will say among me and my friends, it was a hit.
Really? So you liked it
We
very
did.
much so?
We did.
Okay.
My friend recently sent me a video on Instagram of people singing the bum bitty bitty like something with that like music set to it. So it like that still exists in our minds.
Is
Like
that a
I
real
didn't remember
song?
the words, but like as soon as I heard it, it was like I was like a sleeper cell
Oh,
activated.
oh, oh, yeah, you came to life.
Yes.
Is that a real song? The Bomb Bitty Bitty.
I don't think so.
They
It
think
feels like it gives like a sort of like
sort of like
almost like
Fiddler
a
on the Roof or
right, like I
something.
was gonna say like a horror, like a
Yeah,
klezmer kind of
right. Because
vibe.
I thought, is that like a real song? I mean,
So yeah.
did that come out of the Jewish culture, or is that just something he made up? So,
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it seems like it's a it did give that like impression though
yeah,
that it yeah, like that it
it
did come from like that kind of
sort of, um,
sort of cultural tradition, I guess.
yeah, but I guess not then. So,
That like I don't think that song is real. I think that the that Bum Bitty, but I think maybe that,
yeah,
that like exists in Adam Sandler's mind, as like reminiscent of like something.
right. So,
But I don't want to say. I will say as a disclaimer, neither Jim nor I are Jewish. So
no.
uh my Hanukkah knowledge is just from like learning about Hanukkah from other people and like the Hanukkah episode of the Rugrats.
Oh, okay.
A Maccababy's got to do what a Maccababy's got to do, is what Tommy Pickles says in that.
Gotcha. So, so a big hit with you and your friends though, and it stayed with you all this time to the fact. I guess do you own the movie?
I do. Yes, I
Okay,
own it on DVD.
good for you. Okay.
Yes, yes. At that time, kids, streaming didn't exist. So if you wanted to watch a movie again, you had to catch it on TV or you had to buy it. So I own a lot of these movies that I pick on DVD because I like to watch them again. And I'm glad I have them though, because with streamers, they can just delete things whenever they want. And then you can't watch it.
Well, I was going to say, I know that when I was watching my version of it, it said it had been edited for time, but then I went back and I don't know if I missed a whole lot of stuff, but I don't think they deleted anything, at least that I can tell from the language or anything, because
Yeah, I watched it on TV as well, and they adjusted language definitely, but
oh,
I
did
don't know
they?
that they took.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could tell because sometimes like when it would be like bull spit, that
Oh,
kind of
oh yeah,
stuff,
yeah. So
that sort of thing. But yeah, I think the content was there. I
pretty
mean,
much,
they kept like the deer like licking the poop stuff, so
with well, we'll get into that about the whole scene
yes,
about the
yes,
about the deer that I thought at first were was just a hallucinatory dream, but evidently not. So
no, no, no. All right, shall we talk about the movie?
yes,
First of all, it's produced by Columbia Pictures, and if you've seen a Columbia Pictures, there's this woman, and it actually before they show the woman, they show the character Eleanor, who is a tiny little old lady, and then it morphs into the Columbia woman. And then we have a narrator that's guiding us through the story, which if you're in the Adam Sandler cinematic universe, it is Rob Schneider, who was in a lot of these movies with Adam Sandler, and apparently now in real life is has gone off the deep end a little bit.
yeah, he's yeah, sort of
He's become sort of very like conspiracy theory, even like his
yeah,
daughter doesn't want to talk to him. So, anyways, we meet Davy. The main character of this movie is named Davy Stone. They live in a town called Dukesbury, and Davy is the sort of notorious town drunk. He's like eating at the Chinese restaurant. He tries to dine and dash. Everyone is like repulsed by him. Everybody like knows him and they're like, ugh, Davy.
yeah, and
As
evidently he's always in trouble.
yes, as the cops are trying to come talk to him after he's stumbled because he was about to drive home drunk. The cops are talking to him and he like is pretending to make love to his car as they
Very
do.
convincingly, by the way. So
He's really giving it.
yeah,
And oh my God. And the owner of the Chinese restaurant, also voiced by Rob Schneider in a voice that is really giving Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's. Although I will say Rob Schneider is like part Asian, so like uh, I don't know the appropriateness of this.
He's not that much
He's
partition,
he's not. He's his name is Rob Schneider.
but yeah, I mean it is so bad. Not in a stereotypical way, don't you think? I mean,
It's yeah, it's
it's like
pretty.
every stereotype of an Asian person.
Exactly. Or you know what else reminds me of? It's the end of the Christmas story when they go eat Chinese food and they're
Yeah,
singing. They can't sing fa la 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 la.
right. Yeah, they sing. Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
I think you nailed it with Mickey Rooney as Mister. I can't remember the
I can't
character's
remember the
name.
name.
Breakfast at
I could
Tiffany's,
picture
which
him.
was the worst, one of the worst casting decisions ever made in the history of Hollywood. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
anyway,
Anyways, Davy has dined and dashed. So now the police have like a reason to pursue him. So he is fleeing from the cops and we get our first song. So this is a typical animated film with songs all throughout. I think it's called Davy's Song,
hmm
but it's basically like he hates himself, he hates the holidays, he hates love. It goes, I hate you, I hate love, I hate me. And he's just wreaking havoc all over the town. He steals like a snowmobile, and it sort of culminates with the town has a giant ice sculpture of Santa and a giant ice sculpture of a menorah, and he crashes into them both and they fall over. So that's as like there's a big like ceremony happening, celebration. So he's sort of ruining everyone's holiday because he's very Grinchy. He's like the Grinch of Hanukkah. Or yeah, the Grinch. I was gonna say or Scrooge, but well, kind of like Scrooge too, because he comes around.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, but but he's just Mister Mayhem. He's just
yeah,
he spits on or he doesn't spit on people. He throws eggs at people and stuff. He's just
yeah.
not a nice guy.
He's just like a total dick, like in
That's
every way. He's and we'll get to it. He's mean to everyone.
he's an equal opportunity
A
spreader of,
hole.
jerkiness. So
Yeah. So he ends up in court, and again, he has been in this courtroom many a time, and the judge is like, "What am I gonna do with you?" Meanwhile, he's drinking in court
hmm hmm
also.
and making lewd comments about how he could hit a
Hmm.
3-pointer, but he'd have to do a physical maneuver in order to do that.
Yeah, yeah, because they're reminiscing about how he used to be so good at basketball. Like in his youth, he was excellent at basketball, and they're all like, "What happened to you?" And which like they know, we get to it, but like they know what
Yeah,
happened to him.
right. Yeah.
It's pretty obvious what happened to him, but we'll get there. And as the judge is trying to figure out what his sentence could be, which is potentially going to be 10 years in jail, this little guy named Whitey, and when I say little guy, he's a very, very short little guy with he talks with a voice like this. He's the a youth basketball ref who it seems like people are like, Whitey, retire. He steps up. He's not actually there to try to continue his tenure. Well, he is, but he wants to kind of take Davy under his wing, sentence him to community service so he can, I'll train him to be like a youth basketball ref. And they're like, okay, if that's what you want. Like, all right. And cut to they're getting ready for their first game to officiate. They're in the locker room. First of all, Whitey is covered in hair. His entire butt is like a thick layer of white hair. His back, he's just covered in hair. He has two like comically different size feet. He said one's like a men's 11 and a children's 5 or something. And he wears a jock strap. I'm like, you could just, you're a ref, you can wear regular underwear. Uh, but he's one of those people that's like, he's so like nice and kind. It like doesn't occur to him that other people are not. Because he's telling Davy to stretch, and Davy stretches by just stretch like lifting and lowering his middle fingers at Whitey.
hmm
And Whitey's like, okay, don't forget your hamstrings.
Yeah, he's the stereotypical glass half full kind of person to
hmm
me. That's,
hmm
no matter what, he always sees the bright side of things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we learn a little bit about Whitey's motivation as he's going out into the court. There's a an all-star patch that is given to a community member, like for their service. The ceremony is coming up. The voting is happening, and he really hopes to earn that. It's it's something that he's striving for because he does a lot in the community. He's been a youth basketball ref for like 30 years. Like he does everything for everybody as we see, and that's like his purpose right now. He really wants to win it. And then the game starts. First of all, Davy is going to ref in boots, which I imagine were like Timberland boots because I'm imagining
Yeah, they
like
sort
in
of look.
Billy Madison, he was always wearing like Timberland boots. And Whitey's like, you can't, don't walk on my floor with those boots. And he kicks them off and one breaks a light, one knocks out the scorekeeper.
Whose head hits the buzzer.
Yes. It's a good little gag.
Yeah,
And then Davy is just like not helping, first of all. Whitey is like hustling his little behind to try to keep up with the kids, and Davy is just standing there. And then, there's time to call a foul, and Whitey's trying to prompt him to like get involved. And there's a fat kid playing, and Davy's just like, the foul's on you for being fat, basically.
yeah,
And
for
he's just
eating
a
all the food.
Yeah, he's just a total dick to this kid who's then crying and they're like, get him a bra. And then eventually, like he says the game's over and the other team wins because he wants to see the fat kid cry again. And then the crowd is angry. They're throwing stuff at him, but it's also hitting Whitey. And then Whitey has a seizure because that's a thing. He has seizures all the time. It's just a mess.
It is. It's a lot to take in the first few minutes of the movie. So
It really is just like, is this a redeemable human at all? And it does not feel that way.
not so much. I was sitting here thinking maybe he's gonna like die a sudden horrible death and then come back as an angel. I was
I know. I was like,
sorry.
truly, like, what is going on here?
I know. Where's the arc of this story going? Because whew, this guy's he's got a lot going on. So
Yeah. So Whitey decides he's gonna try to keep helping Davy because again, he's so nice. He takes him to the mall because Whitey likes to go to the mall. That's what like clears his head, is going to the mall. Because there's always something going on, something to look at.
loves going to the mall.
I mean, truly, like at this age, when I watched this movie, that's what me and my friends did all the time. We just went to the mall. Our parents would just drop us off at the mall. We didn't have
Okay.
any money because we were like 12, but we would
Well, as
just walk
Whitey
around.
said, window shopping's free. So
Exactly. We would
uh,
just walk around. We would play games. We used to play a game in shoe stores. This is free for the children who need, except now kids aren't allowed at malls because I guess without like parental supervision anymore. But we used to go in a shoe store and we had a game called an ugly shoe hunt. And you would go and you would find the ugliest shoe you could find, and whoever
mhm.
could find the ugliest shoe and put it on first would win. And then we would just compare ugly shoes.
So who had the final vote about which one was the ugliest? Was it
It was a
a
group consensus.
group consensus? Okay,
Yeah.
so all right.
Yeah. But it was just like we did things like that to amuse ourselves.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So
Uh
well, even Whitey said he didn't have a whole lot of money and he bought like just a little snack or something at the
yeah.
food
We
court.
would
So
go to the food court or like the candy store or whatever, like spend a few dollars. But yeah, that was kind of the this kind of stuff we did. So I relate to the mall. I relate
mhm.
to it. Also, we do get a little shot of the fat kid trying on bras at Victoria's Secret. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. The Victoria's Secret woman's like, you're a boy. I was like, oh my God, Adam Sandler.
Uh-huh.
Why did you do this? And I don't feel like we see that kid again. Uh,
Thank goodness,
I just
because
leave him alone.
I didn't know where that storyline was going to go after that. I thought, oh God, never mind.
Honestly. But anyways, Davy and Whitey are in the food court. They're chatting away. Davy's being mean to Whitey, but Whitey is just like, ah, da, 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 living his life. And this woman, Jennifer, comes up with her son, Benjamin. And Benjamin plays basketball in the youth league at the JCC, the Jewish Community Center. So they're like Jewish. Also, I want to be clear, Whitey is not Jewish because he in the courtroom he says Happy Hanukkah to everyone. He says Happy Hanukkah to the Chinese food guy, and
Yeah.
he says I'm not Jewish. And Whitey says, I'm not either, but I'm just wishing happy holidays to everybody. So basically, like Davy, Jennifer, and Benjamin are Jewish. Everyone else, unclear. But they have brought treats for Whitey because they know they bring him like sugar-free donuts for him and his sister, because the sister has diabetes. And clearly, this is something that is like a routine for them. They're like the only people that seem to be nice to Whitey. And he greets them, and they're so happy to see him. And Davy is still being mean. Jennifer calls him a psycho as they leave. And then Whitey explains a little bit more. Her husband left her not long ago. And we also know that she and Davy grew up together. So they know each other from when they
Hmm.
were kids. They like had crushes on each other. They played basketball together. And now, not so much, which, I get because why would you want to be friends with Davy now?
It, I got, was the backstory too. She just moved back into town. She just moved back in
Yeah,
to
I think
because
so.
she didn't have a place to live or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, I think she like moved back in like with her family or something because the
Yeah,
husband left her.
yeah,
And then we get a little more about Whitey. It's his I Want song, right? About the
yeah,
patch. So he sings his little song about the All-Star patch and because they've run into the mayor, the mall, and Whitey's like, uh-huh, the All-Star patch. And he's like, maybe you'll get it, maybe I'll get it. And Whitey's like, oh, he said maybe I'll get it. Like that's what Whitey hears from it.
right.
And he sings a song about how much he wants the patch, and it's just very sweet. Like I love Whitey. Whitey drives Davy home to his trailer. He also learns during this trip that Davy has stolen. He's eating peanut brittle that he stole at the mall, and Whitey's like, "I'm gonna call the cops." But then he's like, "Okay, I'll give you this one more chance. But then next time I'm
Yeah,
calling the cops."
right. Then in the slammer you go. So, and evidently he stole it from Jennifer's shop because she has
Mm-hmm.
candy, right? She has a candy and
Yes.
sweet shop. So he not only stole, but he stole from his childhood crush and
Yeah, who's
the
like
one
also
person that was nice to Whitey.
right, like a very good friend of Whitey's.
Because he
Um,
asked him about, he goes, "Oh, how's that peanut brittle? Crunchy and delicious. I don't remember Jennifer ringing that up for you."
As she didn't. He kicks him out of the car. Davy gets into his trailer, which is a very small trailer that does not appear to have heat because you can see his
Yeah,
breath.
yeah.
It has electricity, but also the like on the TV there was they were talking about Hanukkah and Davy unplugs the TV because he doesn't want to see it. So obviously some hostility towards the holidays there. Whitey is stuck though. His car, it snowed. I assume I don't know if Dukesbury is a real place, but Adam Sandler's from like New Hampshire, so I imagine this
Oh,
takes place in
oh,
like a
okay. Yeah,
similar
sure.
vibe. So there's snow, and Whitey is stuck, and he's like calling for help, and Davy laughs. David does not get up. He laughs at him because again, he is the worst person. Like, is this person redeemable at all? And then as Whitey seems like he's fading. He looks like he's about to fall asleep. Like suddenly some deer emerge and he's like, "Can you all help me get out? I'm stuck." And then the deer are like, "Okay." And they like give his car a push.
It was at this point I kind of thought that Whitey had fallen asleep and he was dreaming this, but evidently it really did happen because that he gets out of the snow and then fishtails his way home. And the deer all, yeah, sort of like, sort of
Yeah,
like,
they're all kind of communicating. They make little
yeah,
noises, which I've also learned that Adam Sandler, um, provided those. So Adam Sandler is the voice of Davy, which is just Adam Sandler's voice, and he does Whitey, which is like the little voice like this. And soon, the next person we meet is Whitey's sister, Eleanor, who has a very distinctive voice that Adam Sandler also does that is really like mind-boggling to me. Because, like, if you listen to Whitey enough, I think you can hear him. Eleanor, I'm like, how did he do this?
It's nothing like his
It's
voice.
like I can't hear it at all.
No, no. And I listened for it because after I saw the thing where, because I was like wondering who did what voices and so on. Yeah, when I saw that he did Eleanor, I thought that's got to be somebody else doing that. So, but evidently not. And Eleanor, by the way, is could be Whitey's. Are they twins?
They're fraternal twins.
They are twins. So I was going to say because
Yes.
Eleanor is the same size as Whitey.
Yes. So Whitey finally gets home. His sister Eleanor has been worried about him. She was like, I called the morgue and they said to call back later. I can't even do her voice because it's like
You're close.
I'm close, but
It's
not quite there because it's like
nasally.
she has like a stuffy nose like this. I can't do it quite well, but like that's the vibe of it. She was worried about him. She said, I called the morgue and I said, call back later. But she's like the
And she was
female
very
version of
specific. I'm
him.
sorry. And she was very specific about how late he was. You're an hour and 50 some minutes late. It's like she
Yes.
was, looking at and he said that Eleanor was going to be worried about him because he was late. So I guess she
Yes.
keeps close tabs on him.
For sure. She's like very paranoid and worried, which we see kind of throughout the movie. And just like appearance wise, as Jim said, they're fraternal twins, so she just looks like a female Whitey and she wears like different wigs. They have, she has one big foot and one small foot, but they're like the opposite.
Yeah. And she has glasses,
Yes.
these
That
thick, round glasses.
that make her eyes look huge. So they joke that she looks like an owl, and she does.
More or less. So,
Yes. Also, I want to comment they apparently celebrate Christmas, but their decorations are like crazy. It's like they look like they just found whatever they could because it's like pool floats and like random things, like animal statues, but they're trying to make them all look Christmassy. And I think the roof it says like Merry Haha or something like that. It doesn't even say Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays.
it reminded me a little bit of Snoopy's doghouse
Yeah.
I mean, in that, it was just stuff sort of like, yeah, just sort of lumped all together. And then there were lights everywhere and it was, no rhyme or reason to it. So,
Exactly, exactly. It also reminded me a little bit, my grandmother's house used to kind of be like that. She just had so
oh,
many like things in her lawn. Hers
oh,
was
okay.
definitely a little bit more
Organized.
unified. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she did have just like a lot of stuff. Anyways, we get a little peek into Whitey's life. He, as the narrator tells us, obviously being like a youth basketball referee doesn't really pay. So he has to try to make ends meet for him and his sister. So
Hmm.
he takes whatever odd jobs people will give him. We see him, he is climbed to the top of a giant Christmas tree to try to put the star up. And then he falls all the way down. And the guys that had him doing it are cracking up. And
Yeah,
then
they're just like, oh, they instead of looking to see if he's hurt or anything. So,
they call him like he ends up in like a present box and they call him like a freak in a box or something like that.
a jackass in a box.
Jackass in a box. Yes. That I was nicer than they were, even.
Well, because I remember writing it down. Also, I was before when he was sitting with Eleanor, and then they were relaxing. He was reading the Short and Goofy Quarterly magazine, and because I looked at the title and I wrote down, where do I get a subscription to that? Because I could, I think that's my audience. I think I'm that audience. I'm the Short and Goofy kind
You're
of
not
guy.
that short.
I'm getting shorter every year. So,
Well,
and I'm certainly goofy. So, also I wrote down Whitey to me looks a little bit like Mr. Magoo,
mm-hmm.
except he's kind of squinty eyed and he's kind of short and got a round
Yeah.
head.
He's
So,
like wider.
Well, yeah, a little bit wider. So anyway, but that's who
Yeah.
he reminded me of was Mr. Magoo.
I do love seeing that when they like they both soak their feet together at the end of the day. It's kind of cute. But anyways, everybody is mean to Whitey. Those guys, he asked for other jobs, and they're like, "We'll give you like $1 to clean out the porta johns." And he's like, "Deal."
Yeah, a
He
dollar.
he will do anything for $1. It's like, oh my God. Um, but as he's doing that, Davy stumbles out of one of them, still drunk from the night he's thrown up. And Whitey's like, you gotta lay off the sauce, man. Like, this is what's gonna happen to you. Davy responds by knocking him into one of the porta potties and kicking it so it slides down the hill.
And flips upside
Flip
down.
side down, yeah.
Hmm.
So then Whitey emerges covered in poop and whatever that blue liquid is that they have in porta potties. And Davy then sprays him with a hose and he freezes because it's very cold. And he says, see you later, poopsicle. Smell you later, poopsicle.
Smell you
Excuse
later.
me.
Hmm.
So Whitey is there, frozen, covered in water and poop. Thankfully, he's a Disney princess. So the animals are his friends. And once again, the deer show up to help him and they lick him to unfreeze him. And then they smile at the camera and they have like poop all in their teeth.
He,
It's so gross.
it is. It really is. And it's like they're all just like have these big like Cheshire cat grins, the big
Yeah.
and it's you can see it's like big hunks in their teeth, and it's like, oh God. But they didn't mind. They weren't like they were going, they were helping Whitey out. So
Yeah, that's their guy.
yeah, so
It was so nasty though.
it really was.
They look so
Look,
thrilled about
I know it was like they were just look what
it.
we did.
Literal shit-eating grins. Literal shit-eating grins.
Oh, very good. Very well played, young lady. Well played.
That that one was right off the dome. Anyways, moving on from that. Uh Whitey makes Davy come to the gym, and Davy's like, "Why am I here? There's not a game." But he was like, he needs a rules refresher because there's some people playing like pickup 2-on-2. Benjamin, Jennifer's son, is also there because Jennifer had to work, and Whitey looks after Benjamin for her because Whitey is the nicest person.
Not only in town, but probably in the world. So,
Truly, especially for someone who everyone else is such a jerk to.
oh, I know. For all this time, because Whitey's no spring chicken.
Right. Like Whitey is the one who gives us all of Davy's backstory. So like Whitey's been around and he had white hair then. He just had more white hair.
He had the mutton chops and the big thick hair, yeah, and the
Mm-hmm.
and the facial hair. So,
Yes, yes. And he was doing the robot. But we'll talk about that later. And anyways, sort of Whitey and Davy kind of get into it. They're watching these dudes play. Davy's talking about how good he was at basketball. Whitey's like, you can't play basketball anymore. You're just a drunk. And Davy's like, I could beat these guys with you as my partner. That's how good I am at basketball. And the guys playing hear him, and they're like, oh, okay,
mhm,
come on then.
yeah, bring it, big boy.
They're gonna play shirts versus skins. Whitey and Davy, of course, are skins. For Whitey, it's more like fur than skin. It looks like he's still wearing a shirt made of white body hair.
He looks like a small yeti,
Yeah.
like a little
A
abominable
bumble.
snowman.
He's
Doesn't
a
he?
little
Looks like a
bumble.
bumble.
He really does.
He does.
And
He's
as
got
you
white
mentioned,
fur.
yeah, Davy still manages to like look relatively in shape despite having been a drunk for
I
some time.
know. And because he evidently, well, we know he's a drunken, and from looking in his trailer, he also smokes like a garbage fire because the ashtray was full of cigarette butts.
Yeah,
Although
and
we
it
don't ever really see him smoke, but I mean, so all of a sudden he peels off his shirt and he looks like, like Brett Favre, I'm trying to think of somebody that's a cut. Oh, it looks like our guy from DWTS, the gymnast, Steve.
Oh yeah,
You
Steven
know,
Edorosek.
yeah,
Anyways, they try to start playing, and Whitey is, you know, he's a small guy. He tries to go for a shot, and the guy they're playing against blocks it with such ferocity. It slams directly into Whitey's head, and he clearly is like out. He has a traumatic brain injury from this.
yeah.
So they move him to the bench, and of course, because Davy is Davy, sticks his hand down his pants, down the back of his pants
Hmm.
specifically,
Hmm.
and he thinks his hairy butt cheeks are cats.
Right.
He's like, "Oh, that's a nice kitty."
It's just,
Oh
it's,
my God.
it is. I don't know what's worse, the movie that's that gross, or that I laugh about that. So,
It's
am I a bad person?
no,
So
I mean, I'm also gonna just again emphasize that I loved this movie when I was 12 years old.
I know, but I'm 67 and I'm still laughing. I'm laughing at the scene that you just described, because I forgot about that he said it was like a kitty. So it was like,
Well, then a little bit later, he says, "Kitty, I have my finger in your mouth, but you don't have any teeth." And I'm like, "Oh my God." Anyways, they still got to play the game, so Davy gets Benjamin to play with him. And Davy's actually nice,
yeah,
encouraging,
supportive,
giving
yeah,
him pointers.
and
Like,
and like
when he
and
misses, he's like, "It's all right, man."
and feeding him like he's setting him up
Yeah.
to succeed.
Yeah. He
Oh,
like Davy, whenever the kid misses, Davy gets the rebound. And he's like, "Here, try it again. Keep your elbow in." Like da da da. He's actually being like really, it's like, "Oh, okay, there is a person in here."
can we say? Do we know at this point that what the wager is?
Oh, I think we do. So
Okay,
there is a fat guy, once again, and the Davy tells the other guy that if we win, you have to eat his jockstrap.
right,
And the dude is sweaty.
and big,
He's a big sweaty dude.
right.
So that is what's on the line. Obviously, these people did not expect a drunk and a child to beat them, so they agreed. But they end up winning. And Jennifer kind of arrives as they're playing. First of all, she is not happy to see her son interacting with Davy, but then she does hear some of this like encouragement and like coaching and him being nice.
Right. There's no derogatory remarks, or shaming him, or saying stuff about him, bad stuff, like he does
Except
about everybody else.
then when they win, he's like, "Eat jockstrap, you dick," or like whatever. And she's like, "No, no, 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 no." Because Benjamin repeats something that Davy says of
Right.
like
Yeah.
of that color.
Of
And
that
she's like,
ilk.
"Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We will not be doing that." She was like happy for a second, and then she's like, "Oh no, I forgot. This is Davy. No, absolutely not." So the loser does have to eat the jockstrap.
And by the
Um,
way, they show that.
yes. And he's just like chewing on it.
I,
Like, no silverwood. He doesn't try to cut it into pieces or anything. He's just
no,
chewing on
no,
it.
that's just, yeah.
Um, Benjamin says goodbye to Davy and he says, my mom doesn't like you much. And Davy says, "I don't like me much." And it's like, well, we could tell.
Mhm. But I kind of got the feeling at that point too. I don't know about you, but then it's like, yeah, everybody hates him, but I don't think anybody hates him as much as he hates himself.
Absolutely.
Do you think that's fair?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I
I
didn't
think so.
really. I thought maybe he just being a dick to be a dick, but at that point, I thought, well, he really doesn't like himself at all.
Yeah, it's like he wants to treat everybody like shit so that they'll be mad at him because it's like that's what he feels like he like deserves, basically.
I didn't think of it that way.
You
Yeah,
know? Like
yeah,
he thinks he's a bad person, so he wants other people to treat him like a bad person.
and he doesn't give him any reason not to think that
Hmm.
that he's not a bad person.
Except a little bit in this scene. We're
Well,
getting we're getting some glimmers.
well, maybe because he was like in his old element, playing basketball, and
Hmm.
that was just, that's something that I was good at, or and then it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah, he
brought him,
has a little
took him.
the teamwork and
Mm-hmm.
stuff,
Mm-hmm. So
so it was nice. It was nice. Then they both Davy is driving home with Whitey and Jennifer's driving home with Benjamin. And they're both kind of like, oh God, like about the
yeah,
other one. They're kind of
yeah,
stewing about each other. And then they sing another song long ago because they're sort of reminiscing as we mentioned, they grew up together. They were like each other's first kiss. And they're sort of reminiscing on old times. And it goes like, but that was long ago. You also get Whitey like chiming in with some very wild asides, like the deer and like all this uh, the like a phone sex hotline and like all this
yeah.
like
Like,
Whitey,
the only
what?
sex I've ever had was on the phone or something
Yes.
like that, and
And
it
then
was,
it cuts to like an old woman in like
oh my god,
BDSM gear and she goes, "But that was long ago."
long
I was like,
ago.
"What?" So anyways, they roll up to Davy's trailer and the jockstrap, the guy who's eating the jockstrap is burning it down.
Hmm. Which really doesn't take a whole lot of effort.
No. Davy runs in and he rescues one thing, which is something we've seen throughout the movie. It's a card from his parents. It says for our
Hmm.
son Davy. He didn't grab the picture, which I was like, why wouldn't you just grab them both? Because they're
I
right
know,
there.
because they were right there. But yeah, he
Just
grabbed the
take it.
card.
Luckily, we learn later there are pictures in the card, so at least he still has a picture. But it did. I was like, if you're gonna run in and grab, just like they were, the card was leaned against the picture, so just in one handful, grab them both. But anyways, logic. The card was the main thing because he clearly, as we learn later, he's had this card for years and has not opened it.
Right.
So, anyways, Whitey tells Davy like, "Okay, you can come stay with me." Because again, despite the fact that Davy sucks, Whitey is the nicest person ever. We cut to Whitey at Eleanor's house. Eleanor gets she's getting a prank call. I forget what the joke was. But it's like little kids being like, I need a whatever.
Forget now what it was.
It's something along the lines of like, do you know Anita? Anita who? Anita Wiener. Like it's
Yeah.
like something like of that
Yeah.
vibe. And she's like, no, I don't know who that is. Did you steal my wig? Um, so Davy comes in and Eleanor thinks he's a home invader. She's like getting like pots and pans and trying to hide, and she's
Yeah.
clearly a very paranoid person.
Yeah. And yeah, she's ready to repel any invaders into the household.
Yes. Davy cracks a beer. We're about to get to probably my favorite song of this movie. Davy cracks a beer and they're like, "Oh no, 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 no. We don't drink here."
And I'm guessing Davy had a beer with him because they don't have alcohol in the house. So
No, must have been
he
in his
must have
pocket.
grabbed it out of the burning
Once
trailer.
again, you could grab a beer but not the picture of your parents.
Just saying. I know. Yeah, it didn't make sense to me either, but I didn't write the movie and I'm not Adam Sandler. So,
And this transitions into a very fun song about the house rules in
hmm.
Whitey and Eleanor's house in the Duval household called Technical Foul. So basically, Whitey, because he's a basketball referee, everything that's like, against the rules, that's a technical foul. Or as he's like, that's a technical foul. Eleanor is like doing backup. She plays trombone. She has like her
Oh, yeah.
weapons. She
Yeah.
threatens him with like nunchucks and stuff. And then I also love like during the bridge, she was like, "They took my wig." I put in my notes like I think this is my favorite song of this movie.
I would
The
have to
line
agree.
that I always remember is like Davy says something about he's basically the song is sort of a tit for tat. Davy goes, "Well, what if I do this?" And Whitey
Right.
goes, "That's a technical foul." And one time he says, like, what if I like give sugar to your diabetic sister or whatever?
Uh-huh.
And he's like, that's a technical foul and possibly a homicide. Like that line is embedded into my brain.
Is it? Okay.
It is. I think just like that, like that voice, the sort of like happy tone singing, and probably a homicide. But I forgot about Eleanor going like, they took my wig. Um, I like Adam Sandler can write a catchy song. I'm just saying.
Oh, and it's very descriptive. So,
Yes.
and Davy, then coming up with the examples of, well, what if I, did like something this gross or whatever.
Yes. Yes. But after that, Davy's actually starting to like bond with Eleanor and Whitey.
Hmm.
He's helping them around he's helping them to reach things because they're both too small. He's like helping Eleanor prank Whitey and Whitey prank Eleanor, you
Oh
know?
God, with the snake thing, the
Yes.
can, the
Oh my, yeah, like the classic people, it's the peanut can and the little fake snakes pop out.
yeah, and then because first Eleanor has a seizure and they laugh, and then Dwight has a seizure.
Yeah. Oh my God. They all go ice skating together. We see Davy, he votes for Whitey to get the patch, which I was like, oh,
And
that's so
also we get
sweet.
to see Whitey can skate.
Yeah, yeah. We learned he used to ref youth hockey until he got
Hmm.
hit with a puck. And now
He
he
was
has a
in a
metal plate.
coma for
Yes.
3, but he needed the rest. Remember,
Yes.
he said he was like
I
everything.
love the like when him and Eleanor are like talking at the same time. She's like, he was in a coma for 3 months. And he's like, I needed the rest. And
Everything has a silver lining.
now he has a metal plate in his head, so he's all
Yeah,
good. Good
yeah,
as new.
yeah.
And Ben is there and Davy's like, oh Ben, like looking good on the ice or whatever.
Oh, he told him
Uh
like how he scored like points in his game,
yes.
and he how many buckets did you get, and
Mm-hmm.
14 or whatever, and he said, hey, you're going to be high score or whatever, and
Yeah, so he's like being nice generally.
yeah,
It's
I
like,
know. It's
what?
like
What's
yeah.
going on with Davy? And then all good things must come to an end. So Whitey is telling Eleanor about how good Davy was at basketball. And he led his team to win in like a miracle game during Hanukkah. This is like that's the most Hanukkah related thing we get, right? It's all about miracles, right?
Oh, good
Um,
point. Yeah, because they were getting their butts kicked.
yes. And little Davy is like, our parents always come out to our games to watch us lose, so maybe like as a Hanukkah present, we can win. Because I think their coach was like, well, we're gonna lose, but at least you still get presents for Hanukkah.
Right. Yeah. It's
And
like, oh, because they were down like 26-4 or something like
it
that.
was
So it was,
crazy. Yeah, they were like, the only way we're gonna win is if Davy takes all the shots. And Davy's like, I mean, if you guys are cool with that, then like, and they're
I
like,
mean,
okay. So they just keep passing it to Davy, and he's just making it rain
all of a sudden
buckets.
he's Pistol Pete Maravich.
Exactly. They win. Although I actually think Jennifer took the winning shot. He passed it to Jennifer.
Yeah. Because I think he gets, yeah, she gets the rebound and then, or
Hmm.
something, because he gets, oh, he sees
He sees the
the,
cops.
the cops come
The
into
cops
the
come into the gym and
gymnasium.
he gets like distracted and but she
Right.
gets it and
Yeah.
she she takes a shot. So but they win. They make this amazing comeback. As Whitey's telling the story, we see Whitey back in the day. Again, as Jim said, he's still got white hair, but it's fluffy. He's got the sort of like mutton chops, I think connecting to the mustache.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
And he's doing the robot, but they're playing like
Mr.
Tomo
Roboto.
arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Roboto.
He was like, I was so excited I had to do the robot dance. Uh, and at this point, Davy's like, okay, like let's stop talking about this.
Right.
But Whitey continues, and we learn the cops showed up to the gym because Davy's parents were on their way to that game and got in a car accident, like a truck hit black ice or whatever, and they died. So the coach like hands him this card, the card that he rescued, And and we see back then even young Davy like immediately kind of goes like cold,
Yeah.
right? Like Jennifer's coming to try to check on him and he's like, "Leave me alone. Go
Yep.
away. I don't want to talk to you." And so you can see how things took a turn for him and how he would get to where he is now. And in the present, as Whitey's telling the story, Davy is pissed and
Yeah.
he decides right back to asshole mode. Both Whitey and Eleanor are like, you gotta just like holding in your feelings is not helping you. I think Eleanor says like it's actually stronger to cry than to hold it in and not cry. And Whitey's like, just let your feelings out. Like it's
Hmm.
hard. And he's like, okay, here are my feelings. Like no one cares about you. You guys are two little freaks, and no one even notices you. No one in this town cares about you. Blah blah blah. It's ridiculous that you think you're gonna win that patch. It's bad. It's
It
clearly
is.
like it's playing on like it's the kind of stuff that he knows will get to them.
Right. He's pushing all the buttons he knows that's going to really, hurt them. So, because he's good at
Yeah, absolutely. Someone calls it a butthole relapse.
it.
I forget who says it. It might be Eleanor, but like,
was it was it her? Or was it Rob? Was I think it was it their
oh, it
narrator?
was the narrator.
Narrator.
Yes, he had a
Yeah, a
butthole
butthole
relapse.
relapse.
So yeah, it was bad. It was bad. So, but it's about to be time for the banquet. Eleanor and Whitey are getting ready, and who should show up to help them but the deer? Because they Whitey is a Disney princess,
Right,
apparently.
evidently, yeah.
It's like
Or
Cinderella getting ready for the ball.
because they're helping Whitey get dressed. Well, they're helping Eleanor too, though.
Yes, yes. She's like, don't poop on my carpet. Meanwhile, Davy is drunk, as is his frequent state, and he breaks into the mall to yell at Jennifer, who is obviously not at the mall because it's closed.
Oh, so,
Yes.
the student has a question
Uh-huh.
at this point. I was wondering all throughout this movie, where does Davy get money? You
I
think it's from
wonder.
insurance money?
I have to assume like he has like an
Because that's
inheritance or
never
something.
explained. Because he does have money. Because he starts paying for stuff.
Hmm.
But I mean, you just don't go out and rob liquor stores and go
Right.
any to be a
Right.
drunk. And
And I don't know. Yeah. It must be that he must have some money left
I was
over
just
from when his
curious. I
parents
know.
died. I was
Just
thinking about that too.
just
Because like
popped into my head.
he bought hot chocolate at the ice rink and
Right,
stuff like
exactly. He
that.
paid cash for it, but I mean, I know he didn't pay for a lot of stuff, but I mean, he had to wherever, maybe he had money, like I said, in a trust fund or some sort of insurance policy or something.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
anyway,
Or if he
so
got like a payout or something when his parents died.
yeah. Anyway,
Um,
so
so in the mall, the store logos all confront him like they do. You know,
they come to life
who hasn't been to the mall when the Foot Locker referee comes to scold you?
as a half person.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, no
Or
legs, just
the Seas candy woman who is growing out of the candy box comes floating down a negligee from Victoria's Secret, the big vitamin thing from GNC. You get the little two like toy soldiers from KB Toys.
KB toys. Then you get the radio from Radio Shack, like the
Yes.
walkie-talkie.
The chair from Sharper Image.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
that voice is Tom Kenny who does
Uh,
SpongeBob.
oh, I didn't. Oh,
Hmm.
okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think the coffee bean cup. That's all
Oh,
of them,
right,
I
right,
think.
right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because how do you like your coffee?
And he just sprays hot coffee at him to like sober him up. And they sing a song to him uh called Let It Out, Davy. So they're just like, you need to just have yourself a cry. That's a line from the song. I don't just
Hmm.
talk like that. Let it out, Davy. and he's like, insulting them. And then eventually they're like, bring in the big guns, and the Hanukkah card from his parents kind of comes floating in, and they open it. And you can see it's like you hear the parents' voices like singing it.
And their picture, yeah, is
Hmm.
there. Their
There's a
picture
picture of
is
like him and the parents, and I think a picture of him and Jennifer as kids.
Jennifer. Yeah,
I will also say his parents' singing voices, the talking voices of his parents are Adam Sandler's parents, but the singing voices of his parents are Ann Wilson from Heart and Richard Page from the band Mr. Mister. And I will also say Jennifer's singing voice. Adam Sandler does the singing voices of his characters, but Jennifer is voiced by Adam Sandler's wife, Jackie, but her singing voice is Alison Krauss. So he got some heavy hitters for the singing voices.
I was getting ready to say, he scored big on the musical talent. So just saying. So
Yeah. So he's in the middle of the mall, just like on his knees, sad, finally crying.
yep,
Finally, after all these years. And the cops come to arrest him, and he seems like he's just gonna go willingly with them. But then, aha, little trickery. He's got some things he's got to do first.
right.
Well, he actually wants to run away. He flips them around and sticks them in a funny position, so it looks like one guy's got his like arm up the other guy's butt. Of course.
Of course.
But then it's time for the banquet.
And
Whitey and Eleanor are in their finery. Whitey's in his little powder blue leisure suit, or powder blue like tux, 70s
Tux.
tux. It's not a
Oh
leisure suit.
yeah. I was
It's
getting. I
got
was
he's
getting.
got the ruffle shirt.
Hey,
I know
senior year,
my dad did too.
1975, high school. My high school prom.
Yes. My dad's was like tan though. My
Mine
dad wore
was
a
the powder blue in 1975. So just
nice,
saying. Yep.
nice. Also, like when he drives Eleanor, she doesn't sit in the front seat. He's like she lays across the back seat and he straps her in like that.
But willingly. I mean, she's not like
Yeah,
there. Yeah,
she's
she's
fine.
yeah,
He
yeah.
hasn't smuggled her. It's just that's the way she needs to ride, I guess. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
Also, as they're walking in, the guy who stole Eleanor's wig when he was a kid is there, and he gives it back. And she karate kicks him across the face with her Bigfoot.
And and then puts the wig on.
Yes. And also, as a sight gag, in like every one of these scenes that like her wig falls off or she throws it or whatever, it lands on the Chinese guy's head. And he's like, this one at least makes me look pretty. Meanwhile, Davy's on the loose. All officers in the town are in pursuit, and he is getting on a bus bound for New York City. He is getting out of Dodge. Oh my God. At the banquet, Eleanor has gone to the bathroom and she comes back out with a toilet seat cover and she's like, they're giving away lobster bibs in the bathroom. And Whitey's like, that's not, no, it's for your hiney to protect it from germs. And she's like, oh, okay. And she puts it on her chair, like at the table. She's like, my hiney is germ free and I love it. That I think that was a line that I thought was really funny at the time. But
Well,
it
it
is
was
everything she says is funny to me. I think partially just because of her voice.
her voice. Yeah.
My Heidi's job free and I love it. The mayor, who's voiced by Kevin Nealon, tells a joke that is not very funny. He's basically like, "Oh, I couldn't think of any new material," and then he says a knock knock joke, and it's like, Don't you wish I thought of new material so I wasn't saying this knock knock joke?" And everyone loses their goddamn minds.
They fall out.
The 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 Chinese restaurant guy rips his shirt off and starts banging his face on the table. Even the deer outside start cracking up and like farting and pooping. Eleanor gets up and like does a jig. She's so tickled.
Hmm.
Like the only people who are normal are like Jennifer and Benjamin. And Benjamin was like, "Was it that funny?" And Jennifer is like, "No, it was not." She basically just said like they're laughing at him like because he's the mayor. People feel like you have
Right.
to laugh at
Yeah.
the mayor. Davy is on the bus going to New York, but all the tires pop, all the rear tires pop from one thumbtack right in front of the banquet hall.
Figure.
He's like, okay, I get it.
I see what you're doing here.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna go apologize to Whitey, and then his plan is to go back and get on the bus and go
Yeah.
because the guy says he's gonna fix the tires. Uh, he goes, and the deer will not let him in because they know that he has hurt Whitey. So he eventually has to sort of prostrate himself by giving himself a wedgie, and then the deer agree to allow him to pass. So he's watching in through the window, and then it's time for the award. Also, Eleanor has stuffed like 15 rolls in her purse. Her purse is full of rolls, which is real. Um, the cops come and they're looking for Davy, but the deer make a pyramid to hide him. The cops are like, "What's that?" And it's like, "Oh, it's just deer making a pyramid,"
Oh,
like,
okay. Well,
as
let's
if
go
it's
over
normal.
here. Yeah, yeah. So,
Whitey doesn't win the award. And he's so sad. He's replaying in his mind what Davy said. Like, no one cares about you. Like, obviously, you're not going to win that award. You're stupid to think you're going to win it.
yeah.
And even Davy, like, this makes Davy tear up too, that Whitey didn't win the award. The guy who did win the award is a guy named Tom who has a hook hand. That's not a hugely relevant detail. It's just a detail they added. And he basically won because he bought the scoreboard for the community center, like a new digital scoreboard. Davy sneaks in, and obviously, like the police catch him and they're trying to arrest him, but he's like, I just want to say something. And Jennifer is like, let him speak. So, Jennifer's standing up for him now.
Right.
And he's like, we all know that Whitey should have won the patch. And people at first are like, him for what? Also, I just want to point out at this moment, there is a man who's like dressed like Buffalo Bill, not from Silence of the Lambs, but like the cowboy, Buffalo,
Yeah, the actual
shoot,
Buffalo Bill.
shooting guns in the air, like,
Yeah, I
woohoo!
know. I
And
wondered
there's a
about
lady
that
with three
too.
boobs.
Yeah.
I don't know why. There just is. And this leads us into the next song, which is probably the other one that has stuck with me the most. It's basically Davy like confronting everyone about how they've all been really mean to Whitey.
Hmm.
It's the bum bitty bitty bum. So if you've ever seen this movie, you probably remember this. It's like bum bitty 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 bum bum, and people are doing a sort of like dance to it. It reminds me of like a sort of like the hora that people do at like
Right. Yeah.
bar
Like the
mitzvahs and weddings and stuff. It's
weddings
like
and
that sort of thing.
yeah.
But it's basically he's saying like Whitey has been there for everyone.
Hmm.
Like there's a guy who tells a story about like his cable was messed up and Whitey was on top of his TV holding a hanger to be the antenna, even when he got struck by lightning.
Right. And they left him there even though, they instead of calling for help, he was like fried. But
Mm-hmm.
till the game was over.
Yeah. And then we get like the guy who was the coach who's also the rabbi is doing like the full like Cossack like Russian kicking on the ground. Huh, 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 huh. Uh, quite a line from this song. Adam Sandler takes it. He taps into his opera man voice
Hmm.
and wonders if the guy Tom who won the patch. I wonder if that guy ever wiped his ass with the wrong hand. And he says, "Yes, yes, I have."
Yes, I have.
Meanwhile, Whitey and Eleanor have gone to the mall. You know, for some because that's Whitey's sort of happy place.
Yeah, because she said, even Eleanor said, well, even if we have to sit outside, because he says, well, I know it's closed, but if she says, even if we sit outside in the parking lot, it'll make you feel better.
Yeah. And Davy shows up there too to apologize to Whitey. And then the mayor comes, and the mayor's like, "Well, Whitey, we didn't give you kind of what you deserved. We're here to give you the moment you deserved." And then like it fills up with all the people from the banquet. All the townspeople are there, and the guy Tom gives him the All-Star patch from this year. And then one by one, like everyone who's won the All-Star patch in years before are like kind of tossing them down and giving them to Whitey. And then Whitey and Davy have a moment, and it's very sweet, even if it's silly too, because he's like, "Me and my, if me and my imaginary wife had a son, I hoped he would be like a brother to you." And Davy's like, "I will keep that to myself." And Whitey's like, "Appreciate it." And then Eleanor invites Davy and Jennifer and Benjamin over. She's like, "You can come over and eat with us, and then when we go to bed, you could spin the dreidel for tongue kisses." And then Davy and Jennifer are holding hands, so they appear to have reconciled. And Whitey has a happy seizure, and he assures us, he's like, "I'm fine. This is the happiest I've ever been in my life." And that's the movie. And then we go to the credits, and the credits involve the Hanukkah song part 3,
Which is the continuation of,
continuation,
yeah, of other
other Jewish celebrities.
other. I was going to say other celebrities who, if you weren't aware, Adam Sandler will let you know that they are indeed Jewish or were Jewish. So I listened to it, but I didn't make note of who all he wrote because I know the first one because he sings it all the time. It's like
Yeah, I was
William
David Lee
Shatner,
Roth,
Leonard Nimoy, the Three Stooges.
Ann Landers and her sister, dear Abby. Harrison Ford's a quarter Jewish, not too shabby.
Happy
As I mentioned, I know it too much.
Goldie Hawn.
Goldie Hawn's half Jewish. Put
Yeah,
someone who is it? Someone's half Jewish and Goldie Hawn's half too. Put
yeah.
them together. What a
What a
fine
good
looking
looking
Jew.
Jew.
I forget who the other person was.
I forget.
I have to like go. It's one
Yeah,
I
go
can't. It's
through
hard to
the.
like jump in the middle. I'm like, okay,
Got to start from
David
the
Lee
beginning.
Roth lights the menorah. So do James Caan, Kirk Douglas, and the late Dinah Shore. I have to like go. Bowser from Sha-na-na and Arthur Fonzarelli. Uh, but yeah, so that's the movie. As we mentioned, not super heavy on the Hanukkah, but I think it's similar, right? It's like the Christmas Carol and the Grinch. It's somebody who like is curmudgeonly and mean and awful, but they are met with kindness
and
and
right,
have a change of heart.
and there's a redemption.
Yes.
And hopefully we don't we don't know, but we hope that Davy doesn't fall back into his ways and doesn't end up leaving Jennifer and Brian
Benjamin.
Benjamin. Sorry, Benjamin.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this is a movie that like maybe did not age super well in all ways.
I There was laugh out loud
I
moments at
do
it
still
though.
think there are moments that are funny.
If you
And
just listen to the lyrics of the
the
songs,
songs are so silly, and like Eleanor and Whitey are like such a duo. I love them. I would like watch a show about them.
I would too. Now
They should have an animated series.
that should have been a spin off.
It should
So
have. It should
yeah,
have. I just love
Eleanor and Whitey.
I just love I like their dynamic too because Whitey's almost like naively nice and Eleanor is like a little bit paranoid, so they sort of balance.
Right.
She's got to look out for him. They got to balance each other out. But he's so nice. He's so nice. He doesn't even know when people are being mean to him.
But Eleanor evidently has some sort of martial arts skills because she karate kicked the guy that stole her wig and was going to nunchuck Davy if he
And
acted
she
out.
does threaten them when she invites them over to spin the dreidel because Davy says, "What if I do something?" I forget what he said. He says,
Yeah.
"What if I do this?" And she said, "I'll karate kick you" or something.
Yeah. So
She
she'll kick
threatens to
his
karate kick
butt
them, and we know she can because she knocked that dude clean out
clean out.
with her
So
her large foot. So, um, but yeah, it's a very silly movie. Very little to do with Hanukkah, the actual like holiday of Hanukkah, besides like the dates. It just the events unfold over
over
the eight
Hanukkah.
nights of Hanukkah.
It did
So,
remind me a little bit of some of the way the animation was done, though, sort of like the animated Christmas specials, not the stop motion, but the
yeah.
cartoony ones, like the
I think
Frosty the
that was
Snowman and
yeah, I
uh,
think that was part of the what they were going for.
the vibe.
Hmm.
Because actually the animation is good. It's not crudely done. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's and although, like I said, I guess Adam, paid off the illustrator or whoever did Davy's physique when he, had to play skins. So
They were like, we're doing like 1994 Adam Sandler.
Adam Center,
It's we're doing Billy Madison, Adam Sandler.
well, that or Don't Mess with the Zohan,
Yeah, yeah,
where he
yeah.
played the assassin. So I
Yes.
tell you what the animation reminds me of,
Mm.
and it just now occurred to me, was the giant robot.
Mm.
If you've ever seen that,
The
which we'll
Iron
get
Giant.
the Iron Giant. I'm sorry, the
Hmm.
Iron Giant, which we'll get around to because the little boy Benjamin reminds me of the character in the Iron
Hmm.
Giant, the little
Yeah.
boy, the way the animation is done.
Yeah. It does say on their Wikipedia page, the film is animated in the style of television holiday specials and centers on Jewish characters alongside Hanukkah.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I'd call it centers on Jewish
I mean,
characters.
the main character happens to be Jewish, and like
Jewish, but
two of
it's
the next level characters are Jewish. But yeah, that isn't like a main piece of it.
no, I
You
mean,
know, their
yeah,
Jewishness is not like central
to the yeah
to
to
the
the
plot.
to the plot. So, but
But
hey,
yeah, I think like I said, I think the sort of overall vibe it's a Hanukkah counterpart to like the Grinch and Christmas Carol of the sort
mm-hmm.
of like redemption, this sort of awful person that wants to ruin the holiday for everyone having some sort of redemption arc. And he obviously like it's a I think it speaks to some of the things that we talked about. And it relates to like the blog I wrote about the holidays being a sad time for people. And I think that's he just dealt with it in a really bad way. Because I think if your parents died during Hanukkah, I would also probably hate Hanukkah
Sure.
going forward. I wouldn't make it miserable for other people, but he, seemed like he sort of bounced around foster care and like things didn't go well from
Well,
there.
yeah. So, and maybe, and we don't get the whole backstory about, maybe he was mistreated as well in some of those places, and that's how he learned to deflect or defend himself. So,
Yeah. And it seemed like I said, like as soon as he found out his parents died, that was like what he went to. Was
yeah,
like insulting
it
people,
just it
pushing them
just killed,
away.
yeah, just killed any sense of kindness or whatever inside of him. So, unfortunately. So no,
Yeah.
I liked the movie. I thought it was fun. Again, I like animated movies.
Hmm.
I
And
enjoy
like
those.
it's like you said, it's visually good. It's
It is. It
nice.
really is. Yeah. And honestly, the voice characterizations by Adam are excellent.
And this was his first like animated movie. He'd never done voiceover
Voice
before
work, yeah.
this.
So I mean, he was, you take away, yeah, he's doing himself as Davy the idiot, but just doing Whitey and Eleanor,
Mm-hmm.
plus the
Mm-hmm.
deer, and then
Yeah.
God,
Again, the deer do not speak. They're just going like
God.
like that kind of stuff.
But the visuals of the deer, oh
Oh
my
my
God.
God.
Just between
The
helping
poop
Whitey
on their
out,
teeth.
poop on her teeth, and then pooping at the joke the mayor tells. So
That was,
I
yeah,
know, yeah. So
yeah. But, I think like the quality of it is good. I think
it
the
it it,
songs are
it really
fun.
is, yeah. It's yeah. I mean, whatever, however much money it cost them to make the movie, you can tell that there's value in the production. So
And like, listen, it's off the wall, it's weird, it's like vulgar, but I think also if you were watching Adam Sandler movies up to this point, that's kind of what you should expect.
I was going to say, if you saw anything, yeah, all the other movies, until he sort of became, I guess, kind of mainstream,
When he
when
started doing like movies with like kids in them, grown-ups and all that.
like when he did longest the
Longest Yard.
longest yard, the remake, and then I guess he did Mr. Deeds. He did the remake of that, which evidently tanked. So,
Mr. Deeds came out around the same time as this, and people,
oh,
critics seem to hate them both. Although me and my friends also loved Mr.
Mr.
Deeds.
Deeds. What I guess people were probably trying to unfairly compare it to the original with Gary Cooper. So when you just don't, come on.
And it was a weird, silly movie.
When Mr.
But
D, I mean, the whole premise of the at least the original was too, that he was, here's this oddball guy, who, is all of a sudden has this big money.
mhm.
So, but anyway,
Yeah, I like John Turturro in it a lot. Just going, I'm
oh,
very,
John
very
Turturro's,
sneaky.
he's hilariously.
Me and my friends will still say that to each other. I'm very, very sneaky. But yeah, so I think I also don't think Adam Sandler made movies for like critics. Although then he started doing like he did Punch Drunk Love and
we
Spanglish, and more recently he did Uncut
uncut,
Gems.
yeah, I was gonna say he did, and which he was critically acclaimed for.
Yeah,
So
it was
I
a good
think
movie. Very stressful.
I haven't
Very
seen it, so
stressful.
I can't say that I've seen it.
It's
So,
good. It's just like you're watching someone make like just such bad decisions, and you're just like,
oh,
"Oh God, dude, what are you doing?"
but I think, yeah, he's maybe not in the same exact vein. He reminds me somewhat of Jim Carrey,
Hmm.
in that he's very talented. He can
Hmm.
can play a straight dramatic role,
Hmm.
and or but known for his comedy. So
Yeah.
I think he's very imaginative, very
Hmm.
very talented,
Hmm.
musically, vocally, and just brings a lot of different things to the production. So,
For sure. For sure. There's definitely gonna be plenty
more
of
Adam
Adam
Sandler,
Sandler on the list.
perfect.
More to come, more to come.
Ver-
Yeah, I have a kid who grew up in the 90s, so like I think a lot of my like comedy sensibility were shaped by Adam Sandler movies and then later like Will Ferrell and like the sort of what they call them like the frat pack, like Judd
Yeah.
Apatow movies and all of those kinds of things. So yeah, it's he will be reappearing
Okay, so
for
he'll be
sure.
a recurring actor
Yes, yes. We didn't
in
talk
our
about other
reviews.
things he was, well, we have referenced some of the other things he was in, but we're probably going to watch most of them, so
Okay,
we don't need to go into them. But
to go into detail
Saturday
here.
Night Live is one, and that's where I think he might have done the Hanukkah song for the first time there.
Hmm.
And he did like Opera Man and a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
these recurring characters. So
and I
and
think too where it also he where he forged maybe a lot of these relationships. With
yeah.
Rob Schneider, was on SNL for
Hmm.
a while, and then
Kevin
Kevin
Nealon.
Nealon.
Was John
So
Lovitz on?
John Lovitz was on. So I
Yeah.
mean, all these,
And
and
like the Farleys, Kevin Farley, Chris Farley's brother is one of the logo
right.
voices. So like Farley, David Spade.
I'd be remiss too if I didn't mention one character that we didn't bring up, and a very very small part. The judge is voiced by Norm Crosby, no
Hmm.
relation to Bing, but Norm Crosby. I'm sure he's passed away by now. Was a stand-up comic from like the '60s and the
Hmm.
'70s who was, I think, Adam probably probably drew a lot of inspiration from him because he sort of had that bitey, sarcastic, kind of
Hmm.
humor as well. So,
Hmm.
but
Yes. Oh, he was also in Grown Ups too with Adam Sandler. So maybe
oh,
they
was
were,
he?
yeah,
Okay, so
perhaps a bud. But
but I
yeah.
remember, yeah, I remember seeing and listening, watching Norm Crosby on like stuff like the Ed Sullivan Show, and those
Johnny
sort of things.
Carson.
Exactly. So yeah,
Yeah.
he was in the same, Don Rickles. He was in that
Hmm.
same era as
Yeah, I
those
was reading
guys.
he hosted the Jerry Lewis. He co-hosted the Jerry Lewis telethon
Oh
for
God,
years too.
yeah, for years. So, but he was always sort of like that guy who would give backhanded compliments. Like, gee,
Nice.
you're not nearly as stupid as you look. Or
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
so. But
It's
anyway,
but yeah. And I think I'll say the last thing. I think Adam Sandler, it's surprising to me that he didn't do more voiceover work because I think that like that is such like a thing of his, right? Like he would talk in a voice like this and then he would talk in a voice like that. You know what I mean? Like all the lines that I can think of from like his movies, like in like Billy Madison music, so hot, want to touch the hiney, or like a line that I think of probably every day at work in The Wedding Singer when like his wife leaves him at the altar and then she comes the next day to tell him why and he's like, this would have been information that would be helpful yesterday. That's a great
Yes.
thought to have at work. It comes up a lot.
Hmm.
But like that having that kind of like, the very distinctive like voices that he speaks in.
Oh, sure. Like Little
Like,
Nicky's voice and so on, and then
yes. Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Like all throughout Billy Madison, all throughout like The Wedding Singer, like he's just doing The Water Boy.
hmm.
Like
Well,
it's surprising that he didn't do more of
on
this.
SNL when he did Canteen Boy and
Hmm.
Opera Man, it was just those outrageous voices
Yeah, and
that
it's like we get bits of that all throughout Eight Crazy Nights. So it's like,
oh
why aren't you
gosh,
doing
yeah.
more animated? Maybe because it got a very bad reception. But I'm
Probably
just saying, it
probably had a
went,
hard time coming up with funding after this one. So it took him 10 years to do Transylvania. So
yeah. Well, and that one he didn't do. He just they
right, he was, but I mean to do another
yeah.
animated film where he did voice work as
But
opposed
it's
to
funny
being
because that's like got all the people from like Grown Ups. So I wonder if after Grown Ups they because it's like David Spade's in it and like
Mhm.
Kevin James and is I think Chris Rock
I
and
think
like
Chris Rock's in it. Yeah.
Chris
So
Rock
I
I
was,
think is the wolf maybe. Steve Buscemi, like all of them. So
yeah,
yeah.
another reunion,
Yes,
so to
yes,
speak.
all
So
the people. But yeah, so I don't know that there's much more to be said about Eight Crazy Nights.
no, just
If you want to watch it, you can watch it plays on AMC. You can watch it on demand.
right. And it
And
is, we are in the middle of Hanukkah, so I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
so if if you get a chance, you got what? Let's see, Hanukkah started yesterday.
Yes. Well, it when this comes out, it'll be a few days farther along.
Yeah,
So Hanukkah
right.
started on the 25th,
Yeah, started on
the night of
Christmas
the
Day.
25th. So,
Yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when this comes out, you'll still have a couple more days
there
of
you go. So
Hanukkah.
yeah, so you'll have a couple of
Um,
crazy nights left to
yes.
watch Eight Crazy Nights. So
Yes, and once again, it's not long. It's like less than
no,
90 minutes, so
and if you don't get to it till after Hanukkah, it's okay because
because it
there's
really
not a
doesn't
lot
tell
about
you anything about
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah.
Yeah, you're
It'll
not.
still be winter.
There'll still be snow and they'll still be playing basketball.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Well,
mhm.
with that, thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to subscribe wherever you're listening to this so you can get all of our episodes delivered to you on Mondays when they come out. Please also leave a rating, review, leave us a comment, and make sure it's nice because if it's mean, that's a technical foul. That's a technical foul. You can also follow us on Instagram at Some of Our Parts Pod. You can see all the movies that we've talked about so far and little previews of what's to come and whatever else we decide to share. And until next time, bye bye.
Take care.
Happy Hanukkah.